Hello, everyone, and welcome to Theocon, where theology meets pop culture, where the secular meets the sacred, and where faith meets fiction. My name is Shayna Watson. I am the founder and creator of Theocon, and I am here with my illustrious squad. Not pictured with us today is Jacqueline Fuller. However, I will allow my teammates to introduce themselves, and then we'll get started with our Eggnog-ural event.
Hey, I'm Brian Bennett. I am the co-host and creator of Church of the Geek podcast.
Hi, I'm Matthew Brake. I'm the founder and creator of the Pop Culture and Theology blog and editor of the Theology and Pop Culture book series.
Hello, I am Will Rose. I am the parish pastor at Holy Trinity Lutheran Church and Lutheran Campus Ministry in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. At one point in my life, DMC from Run DMC called me Chill Will at a Comic-Con, and so I'm very proud of that. I'm glad to be with you today.
Okay, so clearly none of our introductions can top that. I want to be called Chill Will.
Yeah, it happened. If you would have told teenage Will that one day DMC at a Comic-Con would have called me Chill Will to my face, I wouldn't have believed you. So yeah, that's some of my.
Well, this is.
I don't believe you.
Okay, you don't have to.
I feel like you have no reason to lie. I feel like we shouldn't believe it, but I do.
Well,
yeah, Christmas in Hollis. Christmas in Hollis. That's it.
Well, there goes Maddie Brake being the voice in the wilderness, making the pathway straight for Chill Will. We are excited to.
Don't I? I'm wearing it's like I'm straight out of the book of Matthew or one of those like Jesus adaptations.
Totally.
Yeah.
Is it camel hair? Is it camel hair?
Totally camel hair.
Yeah, I bet I can tell. I bet it looks really really rough.
I'm itching to death right now.
Do you have your Box O Locust Christmas cereal that you eat?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
totally.
just wondering.
Protein.
Honey-coated locusts, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Peppermint locusts for the season.
With John the Baptist on the box of cereal, like pointing.
Calling people vipers, as he should.
The little crispy locust flakes coated in honey.
A viper is way inside, actually.
Oh,
a viper toy.
A brood of them.
A brood
of vipers.
1 in 20 boxes.
Every cereal box. Kids these days don't get that though now, man.
No, they don't. One of my pastor jokes around Advent is that, we see blow up Santas and Snoopies and Minions in lawns. I would love to see just once one blow up John the Baptist in somebody's lawn, pointing at people, calling people a brood of vipers, and to repent, as an Advent ornament, Christmas decoration on their lawn. But maybe that's our $1 million idea for Theocon at some point. Totally. And we've already derailed Shayna's schedule. But hey, yeah, we're glad we're here.
Oh, by the way, hey, Will, you also said that you're a pastor. I should say I'm also the campus pastor in Pittsburgh. I realized I didn't say that I also was that. So I'm the campus Pittsburgh, so
I believe you.
Campus pastor in Pittsburgh.
And I fully believe you.
I stopped trying to be paid clergy a long time ago.
That's probably a really good idea.
I know we all kind of messed up our intros, but that's okay. That's in the fun of talking about who we are, identifying ourselves. Maddie Brake is a professor at George Mason, and I'm a priest in the Episcopal Church, and we all believe that.
We do.
But anyway, this is our Eggnog-ural event. I believe that Brian actually came up with that title, Brian or Will, but it was an exciting title, hence my background with eggnog. I was
distracted by your eggnog. That's why I messed up my intro. I messed up. Totally. I got my Starbucks holiday mug though. So,
awesome. Awesome. I hope
no Santa. There's no Jesus on it, so I'm probably going to hell for drinking out of the non-Christmas Starbucks.
I think that was written in the gospel. If you don't have that, then, you know, you're a brood of vipers and you're going
Brood
to
of
hell.
vipers. Who told
lost
you to
gospel of
flee to
John
the
the Baptist.
godless
Yeah.
coffee house?
In all fairness, this is kind of the usual Theocon welcome.
Pretty much. Well, what a year we have had. I know, Maddie, I wish you were closer to me so we can do our box thing that we normally do.
You're next to me.
Oh, am I?
Yeah.
I'm next to Brian. Oh, yay. Look, we're all okay. I hope we capture that. I hope we capture. It's like Twister.
I think it's going to depend on me. I think it's my screen since I'm recording it, but.
Passing the mug.
Oh,
Here you go. Here you go.
yeah,
And it
no,
transforms into the Starbucks cup. That is a Mountain Dew. Oh,
It is. I gave up alcohol for Advent so that I can party hard during the 12 days of Christmas. So yeah, I'm fasting similar to Lent. I'm using Advent as kind of a Advent challenge adventure of dropping alcohol from my weekly habits so that I could have fun on Christmas. So, you know, my other vice, Diet Mountain Dew. Cheers.
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 I think that's great. I'm planning my detox observance, my fasting during Epiphany Tide. So after our Christmas tide, we'll do some of that. Well, in the traditional holiday spirit, we all wore our quote unquote ugly Christmas sweaters. And I discovered, Brian is eager. Will is levitating. Maddie has on his John the Baptizer bib. So before we show off our sweaters even more, I learned that ugly Christmas sweaters is a decades old tradition dating back to kind of the mid 20th century. Oh my God, we can say that now, now that we're in the 2000s. But like around the 1950s, they used to have what was called jingle bell sweaters. And that was when people would wear their holiday sweaters that was given to them by their grandmother or their auntie, who used to just knit things together in a very Christmas story fashion. So yeah, so I would love for us to, I don't know how we're going to do this, but I want for all of us to stand up and show off our sweaters while I try to capture a photo. Is this possible?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I'm going to levitate like Baby Yoda levitating a rock. Okay, here we go.
I have to turn my virtual background off. Okay. Yay. Okay, everyone hold still while I capture this. Okay, I did. Oh, Will, you weren't standing straight. Okay.
Oh, no, sorry, I had to...
Let's get swifty. So can we just do like a quick round and everyone can tell us a little bit of history of their sweater, if there is any history at all? Why did you choose it?
I'll go first. Yeah, I was looking online. I'm like, I'm gonna find a cool Star Wars ugly Christmas sweater, and all of them were like 40 or 50 bucks plus shipping. And I was like, forget that. And then all of a sudden, my friend Brian, who believes most things that I say, like said, hey, I'm gonna send you a link to this website that can do like t-shirts. And I went after this one, and now I'm on their email list. And they give me 3 emails a day to continue to buy from them. But I got what I needed, so I'm good.
Yeah, that's a Woot.com special, man.
Man,
80% of my shopping comes from Woot.
Yeah, well, they send enough emails out. If they're making their money off you to send out more emails, go for it, Brian.
Yeah.
This is awesome. Go ahead, Brian.
So mine, right? My Rick sweater. I have watched exactly 1 episode of Rick and Morty in my entire life.
Oh, wow.
And I too went and looked for a sweater, and they were sickly expensive. So the sweater company though had a mystery sweater, and I said, you know what? It's 2020. How bad can it be? So I figured.
So you get sweater with a drunk atheist scientist on it. Yeah,
Hey,
awesome.
Rick, jumped in this portal.
So good. I
So
love that.
I just figured, go for it. And this is what I got. I mean, I was really kind of hoping I got the Tinkerbell sweater because that one I would have rocked. But
Totally.
you know what? This is typically how I end up in at the end of parties anyway. So let me tell you. Yeah. Not
And
really.
small plug for pop culture and
Will.
Everyone else can't hear him, right?
Yeah, no, okay, he broke up. Hey, a small
So-
shout out for pop culture, and he's doing his Run DMC like
Yeah, Will style.
Haven't seen that special effect since 1997. Am I right?
Oh gosh. Oh no, I think we might have lost him. His screen is completely frozen. Well, let's move on to Maddie.
Hey,
How
Matt,
about you?
tell us
Tell us a
yours.
little bit about.
Yeah. So this sweater is really significant to me. I was looking for one this morning, and I was at my dad's, and I thought I'd be able to find one there, and I couldn't. And so I came over to my girlfriend's house. So it was right around the corner from my dad. And yeah, she was like, well, I think my daughters, who are like size -0, might have one. And we found one in their closet, and I'm now wearing it as a bib. So that's the story of this sweater. Dash hound through the snow.
dash on through the snow. So you're saying we came up with this idea 2 months ago, and you looked today for your sweater?
I did.
Okay, great.
I don't have eggnog either. This is coffee.
Look, I don't care what's in that cup. You got a Dwight Schrute mug. That's pretty awesome.
I'm back. My internet was like really bad there for a minute in my office, but I'm back. I didn't catch like the last 2 minutes. But
Yeah, it's okay. Just
So interesting story about this mug. This belongs to the same daughter this sweater belongs to. So
Is that
I have to
Dwight
thank-
face?
What's
Is
that?
that Dwight from The Office?
Yeah. False. So nothing I have for this belongs to me.
great.
It belongs.
I love that you said it with confidence and you have no shame about it.
Well, that's the key to get through life sometimes. If you're going to be ill prepared, have no shame.
Wise words from John the Baptizer with a bib in the gospel.
John the Dachshund Wrangler. He's
The
a
gospel break.
he's another cousin of Jesus's, the Dachshund Wrangler.
The lesser known.
The lesser known, yeah.
It's in one of the
John the
Gnostic
Lesser.
Gospels. It's in one of the Gnostic Gospels, you know.
Gospel of Kevin.
Okay, I can't. So my sweater was a gift from my mother a couple of years ago, which you can probably tell is a couple of years. It has a little snow bear on it. Now
Bear.
that my hands are zipped, I feel confident standing up. And it's just a snow bear. I mean, there's nothing fantastical about it. It's just a fun holiday sweater, especially if you live in a region that you actually get snow. Probably more ironic if you lived in a region that doesn't really get much snow, but so I love it. I looked at all the wonderful holiday sweaters that are out now, and I'm like, none of those are ugly. They look amazing. I'm like, there's nothing ugly about any of these ugly sweaters that are being sold for an arm and a leg. But anyway, I love the creativity and the design.
Mhm.
And let's move on. Let's talk about some of our favorite holiday tunes and or movies. Can we do a round on that? Or
What are we starting with? Tunes or movies?
let's go with tunes.
I'll go first. In terms of tunes, I think this is a more serious tune, but I really like the song "O Come, Emmanuel." And if it's sung well and has some good instruments with it, and add a little bit of snowfall in the background when people are singing it, peak Christian Christmas.
Mm.
It's really an Advent song, but whatever.
Really what?
It's really an Advent song, but whatever.
Come the liturgical police. Boop, boop.
I'm throwing it out there for our friends who are liturgical police. I just want to make sure that it's on the record that he picked a Christmas Advent song for Christmas, but dude, whatever.
On that
man.
note, I'll go. I'll go. So I went on a quest because there's an argument in our household about when to start Christmas music, right? My kids want to start like October, and I get it. You want to brighten your lives, and I'm kind of like a post-Thanksgiving. You can start playing stuff, and then you hear the same songs over and over again. So I was on a quest to find different kind of Christmas songs to make a playlist. I put it out there on Facebook, and people gave some incredible suggestions. And a couple of things I discovered that were just complete gems. One, I love What Child Is This is one of my favorite Christmas hymns. And then the punk band Bad Religion did a version of What Child Is This, and it's fantastic. And then one of my favorite bands, Bird and the Bee, I discovered them a little while back. The Bird and the Bee did a Christmas album called Put Up the Lights, and they do a cover of Little Drummer Boy with Dave Grohl playing drums. And it's my new favorite song, and it's been on a loop in my car for the last few weeks. So those are my tunes right now.
Awesome.
I'll take, if we're talking about hymns, I'll go with Lo How a Rose There Blooming. Always love that one. Right? I'm a brass player, and so there's been a lot of brass arrangements that I've played, and God, I love that. It just can be rich and deep, and love the lyrics.
I'm sure I've never heard of the song.
It is beautiful. To me, the best one is by, is it Voses 8 or Vos 8 when they do the a cappella version of it?
I've not heard that one.
What's the song called again?
Lo, how a rose ere blooming.
Yeah. Look that up, Matt. You can find this. It's good. It's
Okay,
usually
so this is me being my hipster Christmas guy,
okay.
Like, I mean, it's cool, but you probably never heard of it. So if I want to get edgy, though, I'm going to go the Kinks with Father Christmas,
Oh.
which isn't really, it just plays. I feel like it's prophetic in terms of, Father Christmas, give us some money. Don't mess around with those silly toys. So we'll beat you up if you don't hand it over. It's if we get the popular Christmas songs, that's the one I want to hear on the radio, and I never do. I don't know why, or very rarely hear it. So
Nice.
I was misunderstanding. I was like prophetic. Oh, like a critique of society, and it's like, oh no, you mean prophetic? Like this is how we all act. Okay, this is.
it's the second use of the law. It holds the mirror up for us to see our true existence.
And I love how we all kind of like censored ourselves into Christmas, Advent, a holiday tune. It really can be either or. I love most holiday tunes. I always put on Temptations Christmas. That's like my favorite album. I just let the whole thing play through. Anything Temptations, Motown for the holiday. I am about that life. In terms of hymns, I have to go with Brian's Lo, How a Rose E'er Blooming. Oh my goodness, you talk about something magnificent. And by the way, Brian, I tuned into your Compline the other night. Fabulous singers.
Oh, great.
Touring was amazing. And I would love it if this was one of the featured songs on one of your Complines. Not that I'm asking, I'm just putting it out there. But yeah.
Well, we're done now. We're done now for this semester. So you caught it
And I
at
have
the
to
last.
add, I mean, Charlie Brown's Christmas, what is that song? Christmas Time is Here. When that comes on, like I know.
Is here. Yeah, that's great.
Right? So that's kind of like a segue into our favorite holiday movie. If you have to pick one or two.
But if I had to pick one, I think Rudolph. I associate, even though I haven't watched it in some years. I think Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the claymation. which, I didn't realize until later in life that there were like different cuts of that movie. Where certain, like I had a version of it that I had recorded on home video way back in the day when I was a kid. And then I saw it on TV once and there were these other scenes that weren't in my version. With like other conversations between the characters. So it's interesting how it's been edited for TV at various points. So Rudolph, but if I have to go second, I think what's nostalgic for me is Mickey's Christmas Carol. With Scrooge and doing the whole, like, Pete is like the angel of death. Like, yours, Ebenezer, the richest man in the cemetery. Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna go Rudolph and Mickey's Christmas Carol in terms of nostalgia.
As I like how like the Rudolph different versions, what's canon with the Rudolph story? There's some theological fandom, who's writing the story. You get the different versions of Rudolph, Star Wars fans, Star Trek fans will be like, no, that's not a part of my Rudolph. Or man, I like that version. That's good. That's good. My go-to is a Christmas story. And I know it's just like that. For me as a kid, watching that, the humor of this nostalgia of a Christmas past, but also the kids and growing up with their parents and what they really want, your shoot your eye out kid, and all the humor along the way is just for me. And I don't watch it until Christmas Day. Like I try to hold off. If I see it on TV, like I will want to sit down, but I try to wait till Christmas Day to actually watch it and let it be on that 24-hour loop. And then a sleeper pick for me is did you guys ever see the anime version of Rise of the Guardians? It was like an animated show.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a movie. It was a book first called the Guardian series. And pretty much, they don't really lean into any of the like spiritual or Christian aspect of Christmas. They turn Santa into this kind of like wizard-like superhero, which anytime you can turn Saint Nick into some kind of superhero with magic powers, I'm kind of on board. But it's a pretty good movie, and then the books, young adult books, are really good too. So Rise of the Guardians is like an anime Christmas Avengers superhero story. So love it.
It is pretty fantastic. I would have to say mine is The Muppets Christmas Carol. It has very deep meaning for me. And of course, anything Jim Henson, I'm a fan of. Muppets Christmas Carol was the first movie I went to. I'm getting goosebumps talking about this. And it's the only movie that I got to see with my dad before he died.
Oh, wow.
So,
oh, wow.
The Muppets Christmas Carol on Christmas Day that year it came out. And so it has a lot of meaning to me. And plus, it's just a fantastic movie with really, really great music in it. So Muppets Christmas Carol is my favorite holiday.
We busted that out last night because I'd never seen it all the way through. And so it's on Disney Plus. I was like, all right, kids, all right, fam, we're going to watch this. They're like, oh, do we have to? And I'm like, yes, we're going to watch this. And then like 10 minutes in, everybody's like, this is fantastic. We're going to, keep going. So just last night. Cool.
Awesome.
Did you all see that Disney Plus sometime in the next now to 3 years is going to do a Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special?
Really?
No.
That should be.
It's in the Marvel slew of like release things. Like one day they have this small little clip show coming out, I Am Groot, which is like these little shorts of Groot, but then for Disney Plus, but then they're going to have a Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special.
Very cool. Marvel is really showing up and showing out. COVID really has dampened things this year for movie production and sequels. And Brian, did you get a chance to share? I'm sorry, before I go off on my.
No, it's all right.
rant.
I didn't, but it's okay. I was just thinking, I feel like everybody could name a different Christmas Carol version. Like I would name the Bill Murray Scrooged version.
Oh, yes.
Which
fantastic.
Is so good.
Another thing I'm going to encourage my family not to watch. We will watch.
Yes.
But how about, and then you mentioned Jim Henson, right? And I feel like we can't leave without mentioning Emmett Otter's Christmas special. Do you know Emmett Otter?
Emmett Otter. See, I'm Googling in secret right now. You can't see my hands.
Emmett Otter, like an otter? OTTER. Emmett.
Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas.
Yes,
don't-
it's a. I never saw it.
I think this is the
Wow.
strength of Theocon is pulling up resources for people to see and geek out on. Part of our gift to the world is how we do these things. And so even though we know each other very well, we even suggest things to others we've never heard of. So yes, I'm writing that down too. Fantastic, man.
Yeah, it's a Jim Henson thing. It's kind of a retake of the Gift of the Magi short story, right? But yeah, exactly that one.
Awesome.
Cool.
I'm stunned that you guys are looking at me with like blank stares, like,
Yeah,
what? Emmett who?
Pride myself on being a
Otter,
Jim
like the things in the water, otter.
I didn't know like Emmett the Otter, like he's really odd. Like as Emmett who's really, really odd. I was like, there's all these things going on in my head that, which again, is a great name for a book that I may write, Emmett the Otter. But that is fantastic. The resources
like Chill Will, James the Lesser, Emmett the Otter. Yeah.
I got so many story ideas in my head right now, but cool.
You know what other movie I associate with Christmas? Because I would get up really early because I wanted to open gifts, but my parents gave me like a limit. It was like, okay, don't get us up sooner than like 6 o'clock or something like that. But I'd wake up at like 4:30 when I was a kid.
Die Hard, right? I watched Die Hard.
Well, Die Hard, the eternal debate, is Die Hard a Christmas movie? But no, I'd wake up and every year the Little Drummer Boy would be on. The stop motion.
The claymation.
Yeah, and I grew to hate it because it was like that was the show that was like the time limit of that show was between me and getting to open up gifts. And so like
saw the Little Drummer Boy as a barrier for you and your gifts. I love it.
It stopped your motion.
This poor dude who had nothing but his drums to play for the little baby Jesus became for you the antithesis for getting gifts. I love it.
yeah, I have drums too, but it's time to get up and open gifts.
Come on,
And
dude.
it's totally an amazing song, and it really is a good movie. And I love all songs also to add to the favorite tune piece where you can actually yell things or that calls for you to like try to memorize names of reindeer, Like everyone always knew, well, no, let me stop because I was going to try and say all the reindeer names, but I don't remember them. Do any of you?
Dasher and Dancer and Prancer and Vixen, Comet and Cupid and Donner and Blitzen. But do you recall the most famous reindeer of all?
Chill Will.
Oh, that's
And now with that little clip, YouTube will block our video because we've infringed on copyrights.
And showing a picture of Emmett the Otter, that might do it too. I don't know. Who knows?
He loves people, or the company loves people. May he rest. But yes, I love all of these holiday highlights with our favorite music and our favorite movies and shows. I wish JR was here because we could probably easily go on a tangent about holiday horror movies and Gremlins and talk about those things.
I was gonna say if we got to like the greatest like Christmas movies, forget Die Hard. I'm going Gremlins.
Gremlins all the way.
It is the Christmas movie.
Star Wars Holiday Special.
Come on now. Come on now.
It counts as horror because it's terrible.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Brian's selling up. Okay, here we go. So I feel like
that's fine. That's fine. If you count as horror, right?
Boba Fett's first appearance.
Yeah, that cartoon
True.
is so weird and cool. I'll watch it just for that cartoon. And the fact that like the first 10 minutes of it is just all Wookiee talk with no subtitles. It's just fantastic.
That is awesome. Oh my gosh, you all are hilarious. Well, I just want to name that this has been a fantastic year, and it's only been a fantastic year for Theocon because
For
I've had a
Theocon,
really-
yeah.
a fantastic
Put that on there.
But we all know that 2020 was traumatic in so many ways, and this holiday season further triggers and complicates grief for those who are living with loss, for many who lost family, friends, and relatives, or who vicariously grieve for those who died from complications from COVID-19. So I am curious about some things that you all plan to do this season, considering some of the government restrictions for self-sheltering and discouraging, large gatherings. How do you all plan to enter into Christmas? I mean, of course, Thanksgiving kind of started it off with traditional holiday gatherings, but in terms of what are you doing differently this year, and what are your hopes for some of our viewers and listeners to, I don't know, find hope in the midst of all of these changes and grief?
Yeah, I mean, I think just pausing there, all of us, I think even those who are watching this will probably just pause and think and be like, yeah, this year and what we've had to navigate and change our world, turn our worlds upside down, and then the silver linings underneath of how it's kind of forced us to reshape and rethink how we do and navigate life. And it's done the same for how we think through how we do Theocon too. So yeah, very challenging. Wish we could have been all together for our convention and time no other, but the fact that we've been able to kind of rebound and rethink how we do this through conversations like this and online, and expanding our circle and reach of people who engage in theology and pop culture and meaning making has been really awesome. I think for us, we had to rethink how we do Thanksgiving with family, and I'm going to have that conversation with my parents this week about some things we're going to do differently for visiting or not visiting, or what our time is going to look like with each other. And when we didn't go anywhere for Thanksgiving, it gave me like a couple of days to just kind of be with family at my house. And I finally put up lights on my house for the holidays. I've never done that before. I had time to do that because I was traveling or doing this or that for church or whatever. We had a little bit extra time to do a little extra decorating, and we wanted for our neighborhood to be a little bit brighter in this dark time. So that's how we're kind of doing things. We're really trying to look at the gifts underneath the surface of time with one another, and how we become good stewards with the relationships that are entrusted to us. So that's kind of where we are, and what we hope to continue to do into the new year.
Excellent. Anyone else want to chime in on how they're entering or observing these holidays under these very restricted circumstances?
I mean, certain things, like I would usually go to a Christmas Eve service. I would usually have a gathering with my dad's side of the family. So we're not doing meeting with my dad's side of the family. I probably won't go to another live church service until after at least the vaccine comes out. But we are doing some small, like me and Rachel are visiting my mom and stepdad. I'll probably do Christmas with my dad, morning with my dad. But it'll definitely be smaller stuff. The people I'm basically already spending time with now are the people that I'm not going to branch too far outside of that.
Cool.
Yeah, it's been a continued sort of paring down of traditions. Christmas Eve, I might go preach at a congregation that needed a supply preacher, but that's not going to happen this year. And then we would have a gathering of family that would we'd get together, my extended family, and just sort of have a rip roaring time. But that's not gonna happen. But one of the things that I think we've tried to do is continue to focus on, I feel like some of the key points about loving your neighbor, which is deeply connected to this whole incarnational thing that we're celebrating. So if we want to talk about the reason for the season, I guess that's the thing that we keep trying to lift up. Like the family stuff is really important, but in the end, even that gets subsumed under sort of love your neighbor. And just try and keep that in mind. Try to remember that, and that this too shall pass. We see. I think it's interesting that it was very close to Advent that we start to get news of the vaccine, right? And it's here that started to be some of the critical care workers here at the Children's Hospital today, this very day that we're recording, got their first injection with the vaccine. And talking about hope, love, and joy. Those themes for Advent. That's important.
Yeah, and then the analogous of the resistance of like that, whether it's the anti-vaxxers or struggle against what they're saying, it's like, how are we, like John the Baptist, going to prepare the way for what's coming next, and how can we make straight the path, or the mountains lower or the valleys higher for folks that are skeptical or doubtful or scared or nervous because they've been burned before by the system or institutions. How do we become that, prepare the way of Emmanuel, of God coming near in these things? Yeah, one of the joys in the midst of this season, or since the way back in March, is we've had this local clergy Zoom meeting every Monday morning where pastors from all over our area gather together to be on the same page. And it hadn't been for that virus, we would never have gotten together. So another silver lining, but we've had a medical expert from UNC Hospital kind of give us a consulting advice and what's happening and every week. And Dr. Wallace shared with us today that he's probably going to get his vaccine this week, and he'll be able to talk next week with us what he's feeling, how he's doing, what it looks like, and what's on the forefront. So we're like, okay, we're both anticipating and waiting what all this will be like on the way in. And I think that gets to the heart of this season and what we hope for.
Totally. In the Episcopal Church, as with most mainline Protestant churches that observe Advent and then Christmas tide, this past Sunday was Gaudete Sunday, which also means joy or to rejoice. And part of my sermon was to look at the history of the word rejoice. And it comes from Old French, rejoice, which means to cause joy. And the challenge we face in self-generated joy, but also this call to cause joy in others' lives. And while others are causing joy, hopefully that joy will come to us. And looking to hope embodied in the Messiah, in the Christian context, it's kind of like you get to rest a little bit because hope is coming to us. We don't have to find the strength or the energy on our own, but what would it look like for hope, for peace, for love to come to us? And all we have to do is simply open our hearts and our minds. So kind of going back to what Matthew Brake had brought up in terms of Christmas services and other observances that we do in the church, my family is pretty resilient. We have been probably for the past couple of decades. As I mentioned before, after my father died, that really shifted observances for us. Like I share this story a lot, but I remember that Thanksgiving, I think we had like subs for dinner, and that Christmas, the year he died, the day came and went, and we didn't even remember that it was Christmas until the end of the day. It was kind of like, oh, it's Christmas. You're kind of in a fall during grief and bereavement. So, so our family, because of that, we built this resilience. We learned how to bob and weave, and so with some of these changes, we miss each other, but we developed kind of like a Zoom prayer time on the day just to kind of do a check-in. We encourage others, at least on behalf of the church, like, you can do a dessert call or, something like that. You can really be creative and innovative in how you gather and touch in with people. But we were literally trying to, at the church, trying to avoid conversations about Advent and Christmas because there's so much packed into these seasons, and now we're going to be looking at Lent and Easter. These are high holy days where a lot of our churches are packed. And a lot of churches around this time, their offerings increase, and that's how they do their charitable giving to the community. So we're thinking about everyone who is literally one holiday away from shutting their doors because, their offerings pay the light bill. So our heart goes out to faith communities in general, whether you're the church or a synagogue or a mosque or a temple, and to families who are constantly trying to recreate how to observe these traditions, or, if you observe holidays at all. If you don't, that's all right too. Sometimes, we put too much on things and not enough on just the focus on God and neighbor. So, this really simplifies things for many of us who idolize worship as opposed to worshiping for the sake of giving honor to God and just being with fellow neighbors. So we want to wrap up. And do we have any announcements from any of our podcasts and blogs that we're doing? Can we just do a quick round of that and then we'll close?
Will, weren't you doing a shout out when you got cut off earlier?
When my internet went bad, I don't remember. I don't know.
You're like, shout out. Well, because I'm wondering if it's because you were like, shout out to pop culture.
Yes, we were talking about Rick and Morty. Our friend Saray, who she did a blog post on your website about Rick and Morty, and it's fantastic. So shout out to that. If you want to deep dive in Rick and Morty, it's very nihilistic and crude, but also brilliant in how they talk about human relationships and what that means. So even in a very nihilistic, kind of aggressively against God or theism, this show kind of is. There's some super cool gems and nuggets of truth when it talks about how we navigate our relationships. And Sarah did a good job on your website about that. So plug to your blog and those things. I don't have much to plug, just that, we in terms of everybody's streaming, everybody's doing YouTubes and Zooms for their worship services and stuff. So yeah, I mean, we're doing the same at Holy Trinity Chapel Hill, and we're looking for more subscribers for Theocon, because in the new year we got some good stuff planned. We'll continue these conversations with Theocon Thursdays and some special guests and ideas and thoughts. So 2021, 2020 was and Brian can bleep this out because this is for kids, and then but there's certain things that are gifts along the way too that we discover about ourselves. So excited about what we have done and what we have coming up. So proud of Theocon and what all y'all are doing.
I'll just throw out, we're getting ready to close up the year. Sam and I on Church of the Geek are going to have a 2020 retrospective, looking back at 2020. And we're not just going to go 2020, it sucked, but how that all goes. But we're going to, we have that coming up. It's actually the way our schedule would normally go. It should technically drop on Christmas Day. But we are going to give a Christmas gift to the world, and we are going to come out early on the 21st. We're going to break our cycle. And I know, right? An early drop. Merry Christmas to you, Will.
Can't wait.
I know. It's us. But I do also want to lift up our last episode that just came out several days ago was an episode with Dr. Baron Bell, the creator of Dominion comic, The Fall of the House of Saul, based on 1 Samuel and the story of Saul, which I want to plug that because it's a very nice comic. It is well done. The art is super. It is the space opera adaptation of Saul, and with anthropomorphic animals, so lions and hyenas and in space.
It's a beautiful book.
It's really good. It's really good. And Dr. Bell is so great. He was a really nice guy to talk to. On we talked about the first chapter, the second chapter is just coming out, and we're talking about indie comics and really good conversation. So.
We, a friend of mine, are hoping that we will do a Kickstarter in the new year of a comic book that we want to create called Alpha Rex, which is like this genetically altered dinosaur that becomes a weapon of mass destruction and then rebels against the war empresses who turned him into a weapon of mass destruction. So anyway, I think we've lined up an artist, and we're going to kind of go forth with a Kickstarter and see what we can do. And man, if we create a comic, just a handful of our friends read it, then it's worth it. So I'm kind of looking forward to that, and kind of taking the lead after Dr. Bell's in. Like I know he's a fantastic artist and author and has doctor in front of his name. But, I was like, if ever's a time to like do this thing, new year, come on, let's just go for it. So we're gonna see what we'll do. Yep.
Hey, to quote Rick and Morty, you son of a, I'm in.
All right. I'll let you know.
Based on the one episode that you watched.
I know the meme, okay? I know the meme. That's what I know.
Knows how they beef out things. Yeah.
That's all that matters. Maddie, did you have anything else to add to what's going on?
I've been trying to focus my blogs around the theme of Advent. Danny Anderson's supposed to get me one today. And then I'll probably reshare one from last year. And then I'll probably take a break on the blog until the new year, where I'll probably post the top 5 from 2020. Which there was this one Danny wrote on QAnon and conspiracy theories, which, speaking of Advent, like that hope of the government will be on his shoulders definitely has some weight right now with everything going on politically. So we have some blogs coming up. There's a holiday special right now from Roman Littlefield where all books in the Theology and Pop Culture series are 35% off with capital Holiday 20. Recent book just came out on sports and play and Christian theology. And then the Brandon and John Moorhead's book on horror is coming out in March. So that'll be fun to have drop. So yeah, some different things coming on. Also working on some book proposals myself for some other publishers. And I had a dream the other night that I started a podcast or a YouTube channel, and because I have been thinking like some of this stuff would be really cool to comment on. So I know me and Will have an ongoing intention of starting a podcast at some point, but
that's awesome.
So
you just got to do it,
I know.
2021. Let's just do it.
Let's do it. 2021.
The tag phrase. Just do it.
We are totally taking your tag phrase. Well, for Theocon, as you all know, just keep an eye out for Theocon Thursdays, and we might have a special treat for you later this month or early January. We'll see. And right, I know.
How ominous.
And wishing everyone a blessed holiday season, whether you're celebrating Hanukkah. I can't get the Hanukkah. I saw Will's face like, just stop, Shayna. Just don't. Happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa, Merry Christmas, and a blessed New Year from Theocon, where theology meets pop culture, to all of you.